Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
William Conrad stars as Marshal Matt Dillon in an episode of Gunsmoke from August 2nd, 1954, the episode entitled No Indians.
Gunsmoke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, and the story of a man who moved with it.
I'm that man, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. It's a chancy job, and it makes a man watchful and a little lonely.
I'd sure like to meet whoever's running the kitchen in this place.
Oh, why, Kitty?
A cook that can make antelope stew taste like prairie dog ought to be something to see.
Well, at least it's hot.
No, it isn't.
Well, mine is.
You forgetting you dumped half that bowl of chili peppers in yours?
Well, I've eaten here before, Kitty.
Oh, hello, Marshal.
Hello, John.
You know what I'd do if I owned this place, Matt?
Tear it down?
No. Look, it's got tables and chairs and knives and forks and spoons. And out back, they got a kitchen all set up with a stove and everything.
So?
Well, it's all here. I'd open a restaurant.
You're spoiled, Kitty. Dodge isn't St. Louis, you know.
St. Louis? I was there 6 months, 4 years ago.
Hello, Matt. Kitty.
How are you, Doc?
Oh, I'm fine.
Well, sit down, Doc, sit down.
Oh, thank you. Oh, well, what are you eating? Stew?
That's what they call it, Doc.
Ah. Well, I'll try a little anyway. And then I'm going to bed.
At noon?
I was up all night, Kitty, out at the Brandt place.
Mrs. Brandt have her baby?
Uh-huh, a boy. That's 5 I've delivered out there.
You know, it seems to me it's about time they gave you one.
Oh, no, gave me one. I've got enough trouble all by myself. But seriously, I'll tell you something, Matt. It's got so I'm afraid to be driving onto the prairie at all.
More Indians, Doc?
I ran into Sam Butler outside. He just drove in with his whole family and all his belongings loaded onto his wagon. Says he's quitting.
Well, why?
Pawnees wiped out another family up near his place on the Smoky Hill River a couple of days ago.
That's the second raid in the last 2 weeks. No wonder he's scared.
Matt, he's telling everyone who will listen that it's a shameful thing for the law to be hiding out in Dodge while whole families are being slaughtered in the country.
He is, huh?
Yes. I thought you'd like to know.
You sit with Kitty, Doc. I'm going to have a talk with Sam Butler.
Sure.
See you later.
Stays out there and exposes his family to them murdering savages is plumb crazy. You can't fight a Pawnee war party all by yourself. And we sure ain't getting no help from the law around here. We can die and rot for all the law cares.
Hello, Sam.
Oh, well, where you been hiding, Marshal?
I hear the Pawnees made another raid up near you.
If you call shooting and scalping a man and his wife and their 2 boys a raid, those men never had a chance to fight, far as I see.
Men?
Well, boys, but they were coming on 14 or 15, old enough to handle a rifle. But they got caught outside. They never even made the house. I seen them lying there with my own eyes, Marshal. And if you'd seen them, you'd be doing something about it instead of sitting around here and die.
I'm not hired to fight Indians, Sam. That's the Army's job.
You ought to be out helping the Army. Every lawman in the country ought to.
The Army doesn't need help. But there's something strange about those Pawnees.
What's strange about them? They killed white men before.
I'm sorry you're quitting, Sam. We need settlers out here.
Not dead ones, you don't.
No.
I'm not going to settle out.
No, not dead ones.
August 2nd, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Gunsmoke, August 2nd, 1954.
Chester and I left Dodge that afternoon, and toward evening the next day, we ran across a troop of cavalry camped on the Smoky Hill River. It was commanded by an officer who was new to this part of the country, a Captain Starr. He was anxious to make a success of his first expedition, but so far he hadn't even seen an Indian. I decided to stay with him for a while, and I'm glad I did. The next afternoon, while we were on the march, his scouts reported another settler's cabin burned. The family killed. At my request, Captain Starr filed his troop out in patrols while he and Chester and I rode forward to the scene of the slaughter.
My scouts say these people haven't been dead very long, Marshal.
This morning, probably. At dawn, Captain.
Well, then those Indians can't be too far off.
No, but Indians have a way of disappearing.
There it is, Mr. Dillon. Burned right into the ground.
It's just like that last cabin. Their bodies scattered around out front.
Well, let's get up there. Come on. Oh.
Ho, ho, ho.
The whole family. Man and his wife and their boy.
Look over there. Against the water barrel.
Oh, my. It's a little girl. It's a little girl.
They scalped them, every one of them.
Even that little girl. They even scalped her.
At least they didn't torture them.
Did they torture the other families, Captain?
No, they didn't, Marshal. They shot them just like this and scalped them. Where are you going, Marshal? What is it?
Captain Starr, last night you told me this is your first tour of duty in Indian country.
That's right, Marshal.
I'll take a good look around here, Captain.
Well, I have.
All right. All three of these settler families were killed in the open, outside their cabins. Does that mean anything to you?
Those Pawnees are pretty tricky. I guess they really surprised them.
Yeah, they sure did. There are not many arrows around. If these people had had a chance to put up a fight, there'd be a lot of arrows.
They were shot, Marshal, with rifles.
Pawnees don't usually waste ammunition, Captain. There's a reason for it here, though.
Well, what reason?
Look at the ground. There are no tracks. Every sign of tracks have been dragged out with a blanket.
Say, you're right. I hadn't noticed that.
Well, there's another thing you haven't noticed, or maybe you didn't know about.
Oh, what's that?
That boy there. How old would you say he was?
About the same age as the boys at the last place. Maybe 12, 13.
Well, Captain, that's old enough to be a brave in a couple of years if he was a Pawnee.
What do you mean, if he was a Pawnee?
They usually keep a boy that age. They don't kill him. They take him and try to make a brave out of him.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
I know what he's driving at, Captain. You don't think it was Pawnees that done this. Ain't that right, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, that's right.
But the Pawnees are the only tribe around here we know of, Marshal.
Captain, it's them tracks. Pawnees wouldn't hide their tracks.
No, they wouldn't.
What?
A man wearing moccasins doesn't care about his tracks, Captain. He's got nothing to hide.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
It wasn't Pawnees that did this. It wasn't Indians at all. It was white men.
Marshal Dillon, it's impossible for me to believe white men could have done this.
Is it, Captain?
No white man would shoot that little girl over there and then scalp her.
Did you ever hear what Chivington did to the Cheyennes at Sand Creek? Kill and scalp them all, he said, big and little. Nits make lights.
Congress has repudiated that whole affair, Marshal.
Well, it still happened. And it was still white men that did it.
Oh. I suppose you're right.
Yeah, I'm right.
But why did they do it?
Horses. You see that corral out there? This man must have had 6 or 7 head of horses.
Yes, the other settlers did, too.
They stole the horses and probably whatever they could find in the cabins, and right now they're sitting around camp somewhere drinking coffee and laughing at all of us Indian hunters.
Well, I'll find them.
Now, it's a big country, Captain.
I got a troop of cavalry out there, Marshal, over 100 men.
All right, suppose you do find some riders with a bunch of horses. How are you going to know they're the men you're after?
Well, these horses are branded, aren't they?
With what brands?
I don't know, but they must be registered somewhere.
Maybe. But while you're out finding out all that, some other family's going to be slaughtered. There isn't time, Captain.
I didn't realize how new I am at this game, Marshal. Oh, what would you suggest?
Well, there used to be a corral about 5 miles upriver from here. If it's still standing, we'll bait it with a couple of dozen head of good cavalry horses. And then they'll come to us.
Good idea. And I'll have my troop deployed and ready to move in.
No, that wouldn't work. You can't hide 100 men, Captain. You'll have to keep your cavalry clear away from there.
But how?
Chester and I'll be there. We'll wait for them.
Another load of green branches, Mr. Dillon.
I'll throw them on the fire, Chester. Let's have some more smoke, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, stand back, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Well, they ought to see that if they're anywhere this side of the Rocky Mountains.
They're sure to be scouting around, Mr. Dillon. They ain't stolen enough horses yet to leave the country.
Besides, they're feeling mighty safe. They'll come.
Mr. Dillon?
Yeah.
I've been thinking.
Now, what's bothering you?
Well, sir, there's only 2 of us. And I'm wondering how many there are of them.
Now, you want to go back and find the cavalry?
I feel a whole lot safer.
They'll go on, then.
Oh, you didn't answer my question, Mr. Dillon. How many do you think we're waiting for?
Yeah, there's no way of telling, Chester.
Well, if there's a whole passel of them, how in the world are we going to take them?
I don't care how we take them.
You're pretty mad, ain't you?
Well, I can't get that little girl out of my mind.
Yes, sir, I know.
Now, look up. Here comes somebody.
He's all alone. Just some cowboy, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, sure it is. He's seen the smoke from our fire, and now he's wondering what that old corral's doing full of horses.
And he might be scouting it for the others. Those men don't take many chances.
Well, how are we going to find out?
Well, maybe we won't till it's too late. Heat up some coffee for him, will you, Chester?
Yes, sir.
I think I'll have a cup of it, too, huh?
All right, sir.
Morning.
Oh, get on, stranger. We'll have some hot coffee up in a minute.
Let's tie my horse here. Whew. Sure used some coffee. Had to make dry camp last night.
Oh? Well, you couldn't have been very far away. Why didn't you ride on down to the river here?
Tell you why, mister, I was lost. I rode till after dark, and I got lost.
Well, your horse could have found it for you.
Maybe my horse ain't as smart as yours.
No offense. Sit down. Chester's bringing the coffee now.
Been sipping all morning.
Here you are, mister.
Oh.
We ain't got no sugar.
You men are traveling pretty light, ain't you?
What do you mean? Here's your coffee.
Oh, thanks, Chester.
I mean all them horses. Mighty big remote and no wagon. Not much grub I can see.
We're driving those horses to Cheyenne. There's only 2 of us. We couldn't handle a wagon and the herd both.
Only 2 of you?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, mister, look, I'm drifting. Maybe you could use another hand.
Maybe. Where you from?
Dakota Territory. Name of Lee Stapp. I sure would like to see Cheyenne. I ain't never been there.
Well, why don't you ride up there alone and be chasing a herd of horses all the way?
Well, I'm broke, mister. Wouldn't have much of a party in Cheyenne broke, would I?
No, I don't guess you would.
I'm a good hand. I work cheap. How about it?
You're a good hand, huh?
Of course I am.
Did you take a look at those horses we got?
Yeah, I sure did. I ain't never seen none better.
Well, they're good horses, and we take good care of them.
Well, okay. What's that got to do with hiring me?
Mister, I wouldn't hire you to herd sheep.
What?
You said you made dry camp last night. How come you tie your horse up without watering him while you stand here slopping up coffee?
Well, it's my horse, ain't it?
Sure. How's the coffee?
Coffee?
Is it any good?
Well, yeah, sure it is.
Well, then have some more of it.
Hey, what's that?
Chester.
Yes, sir?
Here, catch his gun. Got it. All right, now go get some rope. We'll tie him up while he's still out.
Yeah, but Mr. Dillon, you sure he ain't just a cowboy like he said?
I was pretty sure, Chester, but this made me real sure. It was sticking out of his pocket.
Oh, my. I'll get the rope, and we ought to hang him with it.
See anything yet, Chester?
Yes, sir. There's some dust about a mile away, Mr. Dillon.
Is it moving?
Right this way. I'd guess maybe a half-dozen riders.
Now, your friends don't take many chances, do they,
They ain't friends of mine.
Well, I'll tell them that when they get here.
You better turn me loose, or else you ain't gonna tell nobody nothing.
You mean they won't like it, you're being all tied up that way?
You ain't got a chance, Marshal.
By golly, he's about right, Mr. Dillon. How are we going to fight 6 men?
You know, I've been thinking, Chester, we could use Stapp here as a hostage.
No, Marshal, don't do that.
I don't aim to, Stapp. They wouldn't care whether you die or not. Men like you don't have that kind of friends.
But we can't stand up to 6 men, Mr. Dillon. We wouldn't have a chance.
No, we wouldn't, Chester. I'm going to do something I never did before in my life.
What?
You'll see. But first, get a bandana and fix Stapp up so he can't talk.
That won't do you no good.
Shut up and get on your feet.
Here's a bandana.
Here, I'll do it. All right, on your feet. Stand you. Now, turn around. Get our rifles, Chester.
Yes, sir.
There. That'll keep you quiet, Stapp. All right, now walk.
Here's yours, Mr. Dillon.
Oh, thanks. You get on behind that log over there, Chester.
Yes, sir.
I'll keep Step here with me. All right, lie down, Step. And if you make any noise, I'll split your skull. Now, go on. Lie down.
August 2nd, 1954, Gunsmoke here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion next.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Gunsmoke, No Indians, from August 2nd, 1954.
You okay, Chester?
Yes, sir, fine.
Keep the sun off your rifle. They're getting pretty close. Now, quiet.
Mr. Dillon,
What?
what are we going to do now? Fight it out from here?
Chester, I'd hate for either of us to get killed by men like them. When I start shooting, you start. Take whoever's on your side first and then work in.
Yes, sir. Surprise them, huh?
So they'll never know it. Shut up now. Here they come.
They must be over the river. We'll get down and wait here for them. Maybe the Staps done killed them already. We didn't hear no shooting, did we? I don't like this, Jake. Stapp should have been back a long time ago. Stapp knows what he's doing. Them sure fine horses, eh?
Now, Chester!
I give up. Don't shoot no more.
All right, throw away your guns. Now turn around and get your hands up in the air. Chester, come over here.
We killed 4 of them, Mr. Dillon. 4 of them.
Rod Stapp up and bring him up to the fire. I'll handle these 2. Well, you 2 stopped just in time. You can turn around now.
Who are you? What'd you ambush us for? Well, you went and killed 4 men.
I'm a U.S. Marshal, mister.
You're lying.
Am I?
What kind of marshal would ambush a bunch of men like that?
My kind.
I untied his bandana, Mr. Dillon. No reason he shouldn't talk now.
That was murder. That's what that was. That was plain murder.
Sure was. Even if he is the marshal, he'll hang for this. He never give us a chance.
You're right, mister. I didn't give you a chance. There were too many of you. Besides, I never knew any man that deserved a chance less than you.
What are you talking about? We ain't done nothing.
You haven't, huh? Well, I found this on your friend Stapp, mister. Here. Take a good look at it.
Well, what's this? This ain't nothing, just a little yellow ribbon.
I burned the rest of it.
You blasted fool, Stapp.
I didn't get nothing else. It was just kind of a souvenir.
I told you to get rid of everything.
Step, I'm sorry you came in alone. I wish you'd been with the others. But I'll see you hanged. All three of you. Then it's that little girl's yellow hair ribbon that's gonna hang you.
Gunsmoke, produced and directed by Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Joseph Kearns, and Harry Bartell. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
From August 2nd, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of the soap opera Claudia. This originally broadcast August 2nd, 1948.
And now, Claudia.
David, before we go down to breakfast, there's something very important we have to discuss. I want to discuss Gertrude and how to tell her she has to leave.
I can't hear you.
I said there's something very important we have to discuss.
Oh, can it wait until I've finished shaving?
You can wait that long, but not much longer. Say, are you still shaving? Taking awfully long this morning.
Claudia, for heaven's sake, how do you expect me to do my chin while I'm talking?
You don't have to talk, just answer my questions.
Oh, for goodness sake.
What was that?
None of your business.
Honestly, when you shave, I can hardly understand you the way you talk. David? David, you haven't cut your tongue off, have you?
Confound it. Confound you.
Can I come in, or are you coming out?
I am coming out. Now, what is your question?
What was my question?
You mean you don't remember?
Now, let me see. I did have a few on my mind.
Well, don't strain yourself, my bride.
I'm not a bride anymore. I'm your son's mother, remember?
Oh. When I look at you, it's hard to believe. When I listen to you, it's impossible.
Skip the compliments and get dressed. It's getting late.
And please don't retard me with talk.
Not another word to retard you.
Where's my tie?
Except to say this one weekend back in the farm has done you an awful lot of good.
Oh, here it is.
Face is nice and brown. The circles are gone from under your eyes. You have a nice, relaxed look. You look beautiful, at least to me.
Well, skip the compliments and throw me the shoehorn.
All right. Yes, I am easy to please when it comes to husbands. Here, cat. Oh, good catch.
Thank you.
David, I know you're in a hurry. You don't want to talk, but would you mind discussing something important?
Well, not when you put it that way. Now, start discussing.
Gertrude.
Gertrude?
Gertrude?
Gertrude? What about Gertrude?
You know about Gertrude. You have to tell her we can't keep her on.
Oh, so we do.
We better tell her today, too. It's only right to give a person notice, isn't it?
Only right, only right.
I just don't know how to tell her about Fritz and Bertha coming up on Friday.
Just tell her that Fritz and Bertha are coming up on Friday and that they're the only help we'll need.
Oh, it's not so simple.
Oh, I dropped that collar button. Well, Gertrude speaks English, doesn't she?
David, please be serious.
But I am.
You am not. You're pretending it's not an important problem, and you know deep in your heart it is.
What is the problem? You simply have to tell Gertrude that we have acquired a permanent couple and that our services are no longer necessary.
You know perfectly well it's impossible to tell somebody like Gertrude to leave when she's worked so hard and been so loyal and taken care of the place and the dog and the cat and the rooster while we were in New York having the baby.
While you were having a baby.
While we, David, I just can't tell her we have somebody to replace her.
Well, that isn't a pleasant job.
It isn't. It's miserable. I'm very fond of Gertrude. You know she's terribly bossy, and she scrapes all the paint off the walls, washing them so hard. She makes us eat things we hate because they're healthy, but even so, I hate telling her.
But, darling, we'll just have to. We can't possibly afford to keep Gertrude.
well as Fritz and Bertha.
No, we can't.
Well, we can hardly afford to keep Fritz and Bertha without Gertrude.
I know that. You don't have to tell me that. I never expected to acquire Fritz and Bertha, but they were sort of like orphans the other night.
Pretty lucky for us.
I think so, but life is certainly something.
What's the matter with life now? Throw me my belt.
Getting you dressed is like playing basketball. Here, catch.
You made a goal.
Good.
Thanks. You know, we're a pretty good team. Now, tell me about life.
Well, not so very long ago, you and I were sitting here in this very room, worrying about hiring Gertrude. If she'd work for us, if we could bribe her into helping us out for just a few hours a day. And now look at us, stewing about how we're going to ask her to stop helping us.
I consider this much more a problem of human relations.
So do I. It's an awful problem. I hate to hurt her feelings.
But, darling, you'll find a way to tell her. I've never known you at a loss for words before.
I've never been in a spot like this before. You know, firing people is an awful lot harder than hiring them.
That's because you're you.
It was a cinch to hire you as my husband. I wonder if I could ever fire you if I so desired.
Just say the word and I'll pack my bags and leave.
Stop joking, darling. Please help me out.
Too late. I'm fired. And practically ready to go down for breakfast. I just want to brush my hair.
Maybe I should do it this way and just say to her, Gertrude, my husband and I think you've been simply wonderful. We think you've worked much too hard and you ought to take yourself a vacation. So here's $10,000 to go on a little trip to Europe.
My, you're generous this morning.
Only we don't have $10,000.
We don't?
No,
if
we
we keep Gertrude and Fritz and Bertha, we never will have.
So maybe I should say, Gertrude, Mr. Norton, and I are broke, stony, cold broke.
Stony.
We'd love to keep you on, but we simply can't afford it.
Right.
The baby's going to do the housework instead.
Oh, great. Except she'll find out Fritz and Bertha up here, and then our goose is cooked.
We could introduce them as relatives.
I don't think Fritz and Bertha would be flattered.
No, I guess they wouldn't. Oh, if only I could find a decent reason, like she breaks too many dishes or she doesn't work hard enough or... Oh, well, I guess I'll just simply have to tell her the whole story.
Oh, well, I guess you just simply have to.
Oh, shut up. I wish you didn't have to catch that train this morning. I wish you could hang around and give me some mental support.
Mental support isn't what you need.
It isn't?
What you need is this.
That kiss made me feel like a superwoman. I could look Joe Louis in the eye and challenge him to a fight.
But, Gertrude's eye?
No.
Then, on to breakfast.
Hey, house is so quiet. Mama must still be asleep.
Mama probably has the sense to stay asleep until you've dealt with the good Gertrude.
I'll fix the breakfast.
That's a good way of getting rid of her. She'll come in and look at her kitchen and get so discouraged that she'll quit.
No such luck. Gertrude isn't the quitting kind of female. Oh, I'm depressed.
Oh, cheer up, darling. In a few hours, it'll be all over.
I bet I'll never do it.
Well, I was thinking you folks had overslept. I was about to come upstairs and pour cold water on you, Mr. Norton.
Gertrude, look who's here. Aren't you early today?
Well, I had a lot on my mind, so I thought I'd come over and get going early.
Well, good morning, Gertrude. It's good to see you this morning.
Sit right down to breakfast. Things are whipping along in the kitchen. I'll bring in the cold codfish cakes, and as soon as you're through with your juice.
Cold codfish cakes?
Eat them this morning without grumbling, David, please.
Codfish cakes.
She'll hurt her feelings, and I won't dare to hurt them
And
again.
prune juice.
It's good for you. So's the codfish, gives you brains.
And you can eat my portion. You need them worse than I do.
For once, I agree with you. But all the codfish cakes in the world wouldn't give me enough brains for this morning.
That's something about Bertha. Her idea about breakfast food is lamb chops.
You want Gertrude to hear you.
Gertrude never hears anything. She's so busy with her work.
Isn't it terrible? If only she were lazy or had a vice or something I could pin my fingers on. No, she has to go and be a perfect gem. I just can't forgive her for it.
Well, I see you like the prune juice. Thought it might be good for a change, such a pretty color.
And so full of vitamins.
So it is, isn't it? My late husband always drank prune juice.
That's an optimistic thought.
Hush up. I'll bring in the codfish cakes and the coffee. You like ketchup with them?
I like anything with them. I'll take the ketchup if she'll keep the codfish cakes.
David, for heaven's sakes. She has a wonderful disposition, always happy, never grumbling. At least I could think of someone to pass her on to.
Gertrude wouldn't do for anybody but us, darling.
True, true. Now she won't even do for us. Oh, we are so ungrateful.
Pretty, ain't they? Nice and browned up. Here are yours, Mr. Norton.
4 of them?
Big man like you. Well, if they ain't enough, I got more hot in the kitchen. Here's yours, Mrs. Norton.
Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you very much for making codfish cakes this morning.
Think nothing of it. Think nothing of it. Gertrude always likes to surprise you. Now, I'd like to have a little talk with you folks, if I may.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Gertrude, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm not the kind of woman who's short on words. This morning, though, I'm kind of hard put to it as to how to say it.
You can say anything you like to, Gertrude.
I just want to tell you, I think you're swell folks, you and Mrs. Norton
you.
and your mother and the baby.
Well, that's very sweet of you, Gertrude.
The baby in the house is kind of nice, too. Yep, I sure do like them.
Well, that's good.
And this is a mighty pretty house to work at, and it's a pleasure to sweep it and dust it and clean it up. Not much work at all.
Well, not for somebody like you, Gertrude.
Yes, I sure do like working for you folks, so...
yes, so...
Mrs. Norton, I don't know just where to begin.
If it's a raise, Gertrude, because of the baby, then I suppose we'll have to give it to you.
A raise, Mr. Norton.
David, could we afford it?
Afford it or not, she's worth it.
Yes, she is.
Oh, I wouldn't be asking for a raise, Mr. Norton.
Then it isn't that?
No, ma'am. The fact is, well, you see, I guess I might as well jump in with both feet. My niece's mother died Tuesday last.
Oh, Gertrude, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it was an awful pity. Kind of tragedy, too, but one of those things. She lived in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And? You mean they want you to...
You mean you want to...
leave and go to Pittsburgh?
Well, I don't exactly want to, but my duty's calling me.
Well, of course, in that case...
We're going to be broken-hearted.
Oh, well, I sure would love to stay.
But you can't.
But I can't.
And a person can only do what they can do, can't they?
What's that again?
Oh, Gertrude, it's an awful shame you have to go. But don't you worry about us. We'll manage.
I sure do. Thank you folks for being so nice, not acting put out at all.
Well, this isn't the sort of thing that would put us out, not today.
Well, I'm relieved to hear it. I sure didn't look forward to having to tell you this morning, but I said to myself, Gertrude, come straight out with it. Get it off your chest. The Nortons will understand.
You flatter us, Gertrude. And we envy your courage.
Well, I better get your coffee. You don't want to miss that train, Mr. Norton. Oh, life is queer, ain't it, the way it decides things for you.
Yeah, life sure is queer.
Which goes to show you, half the time we worry, it's for nothing.
You know, David, it makes me think life has a way of sort of working out everything all by itself. And working it out fine. Better even than I could. Now, to eat these divine codfish cakes.
Pass the ketchup, Mrs. Norton. Pass the ketchup.
With the children at home, summer lunches aren't just a pickup snack from the refrigerator. You have to plan ahead a bit. Here's one plan that makes lunch fun for the whole family. Spread a picnic meal on the porch or in the garden. You'll have a real picnic atmosphere if you include ice-cold Coca-Cola. It's so simple. No glasses to wash, no fuss or bother. Just open the welcome bottles, hand them round, and everyone will lunch refreshed.
Yeah, Mr. King, I sure am sorry to leave the Nortons.
It's mutual, Gertrude, mutual,
But
believe me.
maybe I could come back and visit sometime.
Oh, that would be real nice.
Of course, we'll keep in touch through my friend Elvira Cook.
Elvira Cook, she's the mailwoman, isn't she?
Yes, she is, and a right good one.
Oh, we've all met Elvira, and as a matter of fact, we'll be seeing her when she comes around tomorrow.
You don't say. Well, I'll be here.
Well, that's good, because to Claudia's dismay, she'll bring, since you'll be here, you'll find out tomorrow. So long, Gertrude. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be. When you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. These broadcasts are adapted for radio by Manya Starr, and the entire production is supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
Have I said this too much? Are you getting sick of me saying it? This is such a sweet show and something nice that we need in these kind of times. From August 2nd, 1948, an episode of Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And if you would like to help us find more great radio shows, very easy to do, contact me. Let me know what you would like to hear at classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand. You can learn more about classic radio collecting. You can contact me and let me know what you'd like to hear. You can also find our social media links. And if you would like to help us in finding more great radio shows, you can use the Buy Me a Coffee function. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm a Dr. Pepper drinker. Right now, I'm drinking lots of water because it's so incredibly hot here in the state of Nevada. But I can tell you that what that does is we put that money that we get from Buy Me a Coffee into our fundraising so that we can continue to acquire new classic radio theater programs. Those shows are being found all the time, and you'd be surprised the estate sales and such that some of these great shows are being found at. That's all at classicradio.stream. Classicradio.stream. Hey, would you do me a favor? Thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite station. And tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.